Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode of She Rises live speaker series. As you all know, I'm your host, Kelly Boyer, and I am the founder of She Rises, the She Rises Foundation, and a mentor for women through my CLEARITY Method. I am super excited to have all of you here today, like I am every time we get to show up and do this, because it's just amazing the support and showing and just everyone that shows up just to support this because that's really what She Rises is about. It's about helping women and just helping people in general just rise up into their leadership, trusting your intuition, creating meaningful change in not only our own lives, but in the people's lives within the communities that we serve. And so these conversations are a space for awakening, where we bring in voices that remind us what's possible when we all lead from truth and support one another. And today's guest, Emily Atlantis Wolf, is here to do just that. Emily is an intuition teacher and retreat leader, blending science, healing arts, and shamanic wisdom. She guides students to awaken intuition, ignite passion, and take bold, inspired action. And our topic today is Firewalk. Take one step towards your greatness, which could not be any more aligned with where we are collectively, a call to step forward, fully expressed and without fear. So sit tight, get settled in, open your hearts, and here we go. Hi, Emily. I'm so excited to have you here.
Hi, Kelly. It's great to be back. I'm really
Yeah.
excited to be back on 11/11, opening the portal, getting the possibilities, getting ladies excited, and just dreaming bigger dreams. I always want to ask people, what do you want? What do you want to dream? And what's a bigger dream? What's a bigger version of that?
I love that. And and the last time that we were together, we had a lot of fun together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I
That's
and
never going to stop.
you're right? Oh my gosh, yes, we had such a good time together. And I love that your question is what do you want to dream? And I'm guessing that ties into Firewalk.
Yes. So I want you to imagine, because I love to do experiential stuff. So
Mhm.
I want you to imagine that you're standing in a doorway made out of fire, that there are two steel sculptures next to you, and they have propane gas inside. So literally two flames next to you. And then in front of you is a carpet of red hot coals. And the question is, do you walk forward?
I I'm all for me. If I'm standing in the doorway of flames and the red hot coals, I would be so pumped up. I'd be like, heck yeah, let's do it.
So we're going to ask your intuition what you would do.
Okay.
First thing you're going to do, and this is for you and for everyone who's on the call and listening to the recording. So put your hands on your heart, breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Just, and then on the second breath, focus on your exhale. So breathe in a little and breathe out a lot. On the third and final breath, breathe in love and breathe out love. Now connect to your higher power. That could be God, goddess, spirit, source, any ascended master. Connect to a higher power. Allow yourself to be subsumed to something that's a bigger energy than you. And imagine that you're there between the two flames, red hot coals. It's dark, it's at night. There's drumming, there's a circle of drummers. You can feel the heat on your face. You can see the glowing bars of embers in front of you. And you're going to ask, do I step forward? Do I take a step? How can I take one step forward? Breathe into your intuition. and wait for an answer. And when you're ready, open your eyes and let me ask, did you step forward?
I did step forward. Yeah, and it was so
So,
sorry, when it was so trust and go, I love that. Yes, Jen, I'm right there with you. Can I share what
yeah,
I
of course.
Okay, yeah. So when I asked the question, like what would be the next thing to step forward, I heard the first thing I heard was curiosity, was to be
Mhm.
curious because, and I was like, yes, because the moment that I'm curious, I automatically step forward, like I start diving into it. So I was like, oh, that's so awesome. But it reminded me of when I was in college. I went to a Christian school in college and I had to write like a dissertation on a quote in the Bible. And the Bible that I had picked was Isaiah 43, 1 through 5. And the quote, and I'm going to tell you, I don't remember the whole quote. And I wrote it differently than everyone else because, I was of the spiritual realm versus, I'm going to say, the religious realm. And in that quote, it talks about how this, like, the spirit of God is always with us and within us, and how the waters will never overflow us and the fires will never scorn us.
Mhm.
And that was what immediately popped in when I saw the coals, and I was like, oh, I could walk on these because um source God, what my I like to call it source the creator. I'm like, source the creator has my back. This is the opportunity for expansion. So I'm all I'm like, as you can see, my brain likes to go deep, but
Yeah.
yeah. And at the moment that came in, I was like, yeah, like Jen said, trust and go. I was like, it's go time. So
Yeah. So when I was in this scenario, it was at the end of my training to be a shaman, and it was the initiation into the element of fire. And I was there and I had my drum and I was drumming and everyone else was drumming, singing the fire song. There's a fire song that you sing so you can move into the vibration of the fire. And instead of feeling pushed, I felt like I was being called forward. And when
Mhm.
I looked, because to run over hot coals is guaranteed to get burned, you actually have to walk. A fire walk is critical. If you run, you'll get burned. They don't say burn. They say you'll get fire kisses.
Oh, I love that. Fire kisses.
So you have to be ready to walk. You have to be in a place where you can walk.
Mhm.
And for me, rather than being pushed forward, which is how I thought it would feel, I was it was what am I going towards instead of what am I leaving? And I looked to the end of the carpet and I could see my two kids. In my mind's eye, in my imagination, I saw my two kids. And then I saw a multitude of people, just this endless line of people behind them. And I thought, if I can do this, I can step forward into remembering my past lives as a healer. I can be a healer again. I can step back onto this path. And I'm seeing all the people that would be helped if I said yes to this path. So I easily walked right across the hot coals. Of course, thought that was impossible. That didn't happen. So I got back in line and I did it again. And I'm like, I don't think I really felt it that time. So I did it again and again and again. And then at the end, they take the hot coals on the edge and they put them in the middle. And they invite people, if you want to, you can dance on the hot coals. And I was dancing on the hot coals, just up and down, up and down, up and down. Everybody that wanted to is singing the fire song and drumming. And I thought, if I can dance on fire, what else can I do?
Right.
And what
Right.
else can we all do when we just step forward and take one step into that path? And after that, I quit my job at Charles Schwab. I became a medical massage therapist. I helped over 3,500 people. I just closed that business so I could be a full-time intuition teacher and walk people through my intuition academy. And there's literally no end to the amount of people that I can help simply by saying yes and stepping forward. And that is what I teach. I teach centering in your own experience, your own body, your own what you're doing, not grounding, not giving your experience to the earth, which is important for different reasons, but center in your own experience, connect to something bigger than you, and then ask, what do I need to step forward? Because you'll always get an answer. In
Mhm.
stillness and silence, when you're connecting to that grace,
Mhm.
that divine energy, you'll never be left hanging. You'll always get an answer, and it will be what you need. If I needed to walk across fire, all you have to do is put my kids on the other side. I'll be across in a second.
I love it.
That's all I need. And we all have that. We all have something that we would walk towards,
Hmm.
which is more the truth and the peace. It's not what we're running from. We're not going and doing this because we're afraid and small, but where's the expansion? Where could I be bigger in the world? That's what I want to walk consciously towards.
I love that. That's so empowering. I love it so much. And I love that you saw your children. I think that's beautiful. I'm the same way. Whenever I think of something, I like my son is always at the forefront of all of it because we're their role models, and if they can see us do it, then I think it empowers them to know that they can do anything that they want to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're here to inspire each other. I mean,
Yeah.
no one does anything alone ever. It's not possible. Everything that we do is because we live in the shelter of other people. We live under the support of other people or the inspiration of other people. Nobody is here alone. We're not the little prince just moving our chair on on the planet and looking for the sunset or the sunrise. You know, we become more vulnerable when we understand we were put here to find each other. Who can I inspire? Who can I connect with? Who has a story that's similar to mine that says, really? You did that and then you quit your corporate job as a project manager at Charles Schwab? Are you kidding? No, I quit on a Thursday and went to medical massage school on Monday. Like,
But
scene, chapter closed, done.
It's I love that you talked about like the scene or the chapter being closed because I think that's part of where people get stopped at is they're right on that cusp of entering into that new chapter, but it's
Hmm.
kind of like they're standing there kind of looking at it and then what happens is they start looking back and not
Hmm.
realizing that that first step that the moment that it's closed and the step that you take is truly that moment of really being held, right? And just
Yeah.
supported.
And if you get into psychology and you start to read about what do we do and how do we do it and things like that, eventually you're going to come across the map of consciousness,
Mhm.
Dr. David Hawking. What's fascinating about this is that he's talking about the vibration of all the different emotions. So it's not a matter of having an exact number. So it's not that bliss resonates at three hertz and shame is at 1 hertz. It's not that. That's how they're relative to each other.
Mhm.
But as you move through the different states of consciousness, shame is the lowest. When you're ashamed of who you are, you're practically dead. You don't even think you deserve to live, to have a dream, to have an aspiration, to be held, nothing. And it moves up bliss, courage, bravery, everything, peace, all of that. But the difference between fear and the courage has one important step: anger. It is required for us to be angry. And that shows up in a few ways. For example, let's say that you go to a convention and you see someone speak and they're a terrible speaker and they're not motivating. They're talking about something that's important to you. That's why you signed up, but they're just not there. They're just sort of limp. You get angry because you think I could do a better job.
Mhm.
That's what motivates you to get up on stage and try it. Oh, you think that's easy? Go ahead and try it. But it's a spark, it's a match. It's not, how when we strike that match, it's just that very tip. It's not the wood. We're not meant to stay angry, but anger is required. If you see somebody picking on your son, you get angry, and all of a sudden you have 10 times the strength of a mountain lion, and you're going to pull that person off of your son or pull that car off of your son or something, because anger is a critical step. The reason why I talk about it so much is because women are conditioned never to be angry, never to lose their mind, never to lose their composure, never to lose their grace. And what I'm here to tell you is that that is a human condition. Being angry is not a bad thing. And that often the people who are at the cusp, they're not angry enough. They're
Mhm.
not, they're not being valued at their job, but they're not angry enough to step forward.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with bravery. Bravery comes right after anger, right after. You have to be angry. The match has to be struck. You don't stay angry. This isn't about revenge. This is not about getting back at anybody who did you wrong. That is
Mhm.
not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the holy rage that fills you when you understand your purpose, but you're not doing it. That fire will continue to consume you. There'll be whatever you believe that is holy and divine will be throwing logs into that fire until you finally snap
Mhm.
and you quit the job, start the company, have the difficult conversation, stop drinking, start taking responsibility for your diet, whatever it is. There's a moment where anger is required. That match needs to be struck inside of you in order to get you to step over into your new life. And as a matter of fact, it mirrors the birth process. That last step before we're born, it's called the ring of fire. We have to go through the ring of fire in a natural childbirth to be born. It's that critical. It's that much a part of our DNA, our birth process, our being alivedness.
Mhm. I totally relate to that in regards to my job because I felt all those things that you talked about. I felt that way, not valued or my voice being like squished down and not being heard. And for years, I would always say, I'm gonna quit. I'm just gonna quit. And of course, I never did it, right? And then there was one moment that something happened, and that's exactly what it was. Like I allowed myself to be angry about it because it
Mhm.
was like in my mind, it was unfair, it was unjust. Nobody should be treated this way. And yeah, it happened to me on a Tuesday. I set a meeting with my supervisor on Wednesday and said, I'm done. And she had asked me why, and I told like I told her it was kind of like a plethora of things, and I said, but this was the lot, like this was it. This is what pushed me over the edge. And she was like, well, I don't want you to quit because you're angry. And I said, no, I said that's why I'm doing it. Like
Mhm.
it's time. And I said because I said like if I am angry about it, like that means that this job doesn't work for me anymore.
Exactly.
And I told her that I sat back passively for years and I said,
Mhm.
and like this was it. And I told her and I was done. And it was so crazy because the moment we were done with the meeting and I let it out, like I literally verbally let it out. Like felt so relieved. And then I told
Oh,
her, I'm like, you'll have my letter of resignation. I said, by Friday, because this was Wednesday, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna write it and make it really nice. Nope. As soon as we got off, I wrote it and sent it to her. And she's like I was expecting this on Friday, and I was like, well, no, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm gonna do. But
yeah.
I
It's required. It is absolutely required. And women are conditioned to be accommodating and agreeable, and men are not conditioned that way. Men are allowed to be angry all the time. Nobody's, oh, well, boys will be boys. He's just letting off steam. They don't say that about women. Nobody says, oh, that's just girls being girls. She just needs to let off some steam. You don't hear the same cliches and colloquialisms around that because it is these microaggressions around you have to be pretty, you have to be quiet, and you have to be agreeable. But angry, oh no, 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 honey.
Yeah. And when I had jobs where like I mean I've had a lot of jobs where they're mostly men dominant. And the moment that I would be expressive about that and I would be angry, I was being too emotional. And I was
Mhm.
quite surprised that my female supervisor said, like, she basically said, she's after she said that to me, she goes, well, I just don't want you to like make a decision on being too emotional. And I was so shocked by that. And I was like, wow. So the reason I bring that up is because it's to your point, right? Like,
Yeah.
women have been so conditioned to tell women not to be emotional
Yeah,
and
yeah,
not allow,
because it's
yeah,
dangerous, it's seen as dangerous. You're going to get kicked out of the job club, and you need to have a job in order to be worthy. We need you to be productive. If you're not productive, who are you? We need you to produce, 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 produce. Only busyness and productivity are rewarded here. So if you're emotional, you might not be productive, and that's a threat, and you can't do that.
right?
Which is
Yeah.
why people also get upset when women don't do anything. If a woman is sitting on the couch, it's like, well, what did you do today? What did you do to earn sitting on the couch?
Right.
I got out of bed. Like,
Yeah. I chose me today. That's what I
yeah,
chose today. But
yeah,
like, you're absolutely right. And I love that you're talking about I don't want to say that these are little things because they're not little things, but they're things that are overlooked. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That we literally just go, well, like it's not a big deal. And then, I got out of bed today and I chose me to, and me wants to sit on the couch. But
yeah.
you know, but we do start like questioning that, right? When somebody says
Hmm.
that, because now as a woman, we're like, oh, I guess I should have like cleaned the house, or I should have done this. I should get dinner started, and
Hmm.
it's almost like it triggers that. Funny, what came up with shame, right? I feel
Oh,
ashamed
yeah,
that I didn't do my womanly duties or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you can always know where your truth is, because is what you're feeling, are you suppressing it or are you expressing it? Because it's really just those two things. And being able to express how you feel is natural. You can say, I'm really frustrated about this. I want to sit here, but I feel like I should be doing something else. That is not screaming and yelling and losing your mind, which you're absolutely allowed to do too. There's just healthier ways to do it, like go scream into a waterfall or go listen to heavy metal music and scream when you're going down the highway with the windows open. But when you don't express, you repress, and that goes into your body, and that becomes depression and disease. When you express, when you're allowed to express, it's expansion, it's creation. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were feeling like you couldn't even have a day off where you don't do the dishes and the laundry and the everything.
Right.
Let's say would you like a day off every week? Would you like to do absolutely positively nothing every Sunday for the rest of your life? Yes.
Oh, that sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I do. Sunday's my day. It's like nothing. I do nothing. And nothing is like go for a walk and read. I'm trying hard to read because I stop reading. Like that's the first thing I give up. I love reading, but I won't do it. I'll do other things instead for other people or other projects. I sit with my cats. I make a point of not putting on a bra all day, which keeps me from also being busy or maybe going to a store like the grocery store or something like that. But my goal is to do absolutely nothing, as much whatever that means to me. And what helped that out a lot was a retreat. I took myself on a personal retreat, 3 weeks in the Caribbean in April by myself, just me. I had my classes on Wednesday. So Wednesday I was teaching my classes. And otherwise, I was on the beach every morning for the sunrise. I walked up and down the mile-long beach. I did 250 squats. I swam. I did body weight exercises. I took a nap every morning, made myself all the food that I wanted to. And I had a chance to think, what do I really want? And the first thing that I did at the beginning of the retreat, all notifications off.
Mhm.
No notifications, nothing beeping, buzzing, burping, nothing, nothing. I didn't get a notification for a text message, Facebook, email, ringer on my phone. Zero, zero. And I felt like I was living on a different layer of existence because nothing kept grabbing my attention. Like, look at me, look at me, look at me. And I never went back. I have not turned on my notifications for anything. And every time I open up WhatsApp, every time I open up even my bank app, it's like, you're not getting notifications. Do you want to turn them on? No. No is a complete sentence. No. I deleted Facebook. Great. Like, does that make some things harder? A little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean like a 1 out of 100 makes it harder. People can still find me. I have a website. I'm not hard to find, but it gave me back so much of my living experience. I
Mm.
feel like I'm alive. I feel like I do what I want and I'm not constantly being distracted and pulled and hooked and asked to look at something. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. I feel really mellow after turning off all these notifications. And it allowed me to say, what do I want? I want more time to read. I want a day off. I want to do things that bring me pleasure and joy. And I want to discover what that means. So I work 2 days a week on clients. I have my academy 1 day a week for 6 months. And as of December, the massage business is closed. So I will officially work 1 day a week for 6 months, 2 hours a day on Wednesdays, go on retreats, and do nothing.
I,
That's what
you,
I want. And that's what I created. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because every woman can have what they want. They have to get away from everything that is distracting them, all the people, all the obligations, all the everything. They have to go somewhere. And for people who are like, oh, that must be nice. I can't go to the Caribbean for 3 weeks. You can turn off all the notifications on your phone and absolutely call back 1 hour out of your day to walk into nature, no tech, no animals, no friends, 1 hour a day with the sole purpose. What do I want? What serves me? Not for other people. I want something for my kids or my husband or my Girl Scout troop or my alumni society. Me. What do I want? And if you ask yourself that question every day, eventually you will know what you really want. And as I like to say, if you can perceive it, you can receive it.
I love that.
The opposite is not true. Most people say, oh, if I can set a goal, I can achieve the goal. That is not feminine quantum physics. The feminine sits in her throne, surrounded by everything she loves, and she dreams about what she wants. She perceives it, and it is brought to her. She doesn't go running after it. She doesn't spend all of her days and nights accomplishing it. It comes to her the way that this a beautiful robe would come and be placed on your shoulders. And you can achieve anything, but put your mindset into receiving it instead of running after it.
I absolutely love that because I spent most of my life hustling. And recently, and I want to say it was after you and I had talked the last time because I think before we had hopped on to talk, you had shared the story about your retreat. And I decided, and I had never done this before, that I'm gonna book a weekend in the mountains. It was gonna be me and my dogs. I take my dogs everywhere with me. Me and my dogs, no notifications or anything. And the only call that I was going to answer was from my son. So
Of course.
I turned everything off. And it was incredible. Like I could actually hear and sit with my own thoughts and my own feelings without them being convoluted by everything else. And that was the moment that honestly I started, like you said, you asked the question, what is it that I want? And I started really like that's when I really started figuring it out.
Mhm.
And then I got back home and I was like I got back home. I think I was only home an hour and I already booked another one for the following to do that, to go do it again. And so that's exactly what I did. And it was in the second trip that it was interesting because I think that sometimes we we bring on all of these things. What I
Mm.
found myself doing was stripping down. What do and like instead of what I do want, I knew that if I could get rid of all the things that I didn't want, that it would really reveal all of the do's. And so
Yes.
that's what I did. And by the time I was done with my little weekend trip, I left there so excited because for the first time, I really did understand what it was that I did want. And
Mm.
so now I'm in that process. Like I'm starting to eliminate, just cut it out with not feeling guilty about it. Because, I think that was the other thing. I think a lot of women feel guilty. Well, if I let this go, and then we start thinking about all these conditioning things start coming to the surface. And
Yeah.
I was like I said, if it's not fun, simple, and easy, I don't want to do it. Like if I wake up in the morning and it's not lighting my fire to do it, I don't want to do it.
And really, at the end of the day, guilt is just control. Guilt is just a way to control women's actions. So
Yeah.
commit to trying. If you feel guilty, you can look at it and say, I'm feeling guilty, but I'm going to do it anyway. Just commit to trying whatever it is, and sometimes it can be just an hour. It could be a weekend. And all of a sudden, it's like, why do I need to justify this weekend or this hour when
Mhm.
I'm happy to give away the rest of it?
Right?
It's okay to reclaim an hour, a weekend.
Mhm.
And I mean, I tell people I took 3 weeks off in the hopes of inspiring them, not because I want people to throw arrows at me and be like, oh my God. But listen, women in their 50s are fierce, powerful warriors without a doubt. And I never would have imagined doing this in my 40s, but in my 50s, it's like, why wouldn't I do that? I have the means. I have a house I can stay in with friends. They're like, yeah, you can use the car. I have to buy a plane ticket and make my own food. I can handle that. I can do that. But that situation was created because I said that's what I want.
Mhm.
I didn't go out saying, I'm going to create a situation where it's this, 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 and this. No, I created a situation where it's like, I want to take 3 weeks for myself. I'm a single mom. I raised my 2 kids. I adopted 2 kids. I've been nothing but doing for other people for 15 years. I'm taking a freaking break.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
know?
Yeah. So, when I came back from all of that, I kind of did the same thing. I was like, I just need one day out of the week where it's just my day. And when you do so many things for people for so long, you literally have trained them to
Oh,
do
yeah,
that. So I'm still in the process. So now, like I tell my friends, I'm like, I'm not doing anything today. Today is my day.
exactly.
And I love them because they're like, okay, yeah, it's your day. But in the beginning, they would kind of send this text, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And I'd be like, nope, but I could sure do it tomorrow.
Well, and isn't that the truth? Is that people don't treat us the way we deserve. We train people how to treat us.
Mhm. Yeah. So now I'm kind of retraining that says today's my day. A lot of them know, okay, well, today's your day. And my feelings don't get hurt if you don't talk to me after that. Their feelings are getting hurt if I'm not responding. And my day isn't like yours where it's every Sunday. It kind of varies. I kind of wake up
Mhm.
and I'm going, today's gonna be my day.
I
But
love that.
um but I'm saying this because it's I really want to support what you're saying for women. Like we don't take enough time to just appreciate ourselves and being a woman. Like we handle a lot of things. We can take on even a lot of stress and still be able to handle it. We are like the multitasking gurus
Yeah.
of everybody else's needs. And at the end of the day, I can't tell you how many times my grandma would be like, well, I'll sleep when I'm dead, or my time is when I go to bed. And I'm like, no, that's when you go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I love this because I'm all about encouraging women to just take that power back, because when you do, I'm like, it does. It feels really good.
It feels good and it's nourishing. It's like, what are you doing to nourish yourself? I'll
Yeah.
tell you one of my favorite like life hack kind of things is called win the day. So a lot of times we just have this endless to-do list, right? There's like 100 billion thousand things to do. I'll never get done, but I'm going to get up and go and go and go and go. So plan to win the day. You get 5 things: happiness, health, wisdom, and wealth. I'll talk about the last one in a second. So you say to yourself, I'm going to do one thing today that makes me happy. It has no purpose other than to make me happy. It could be a bubble bath. It could be, hopefully, I mean, I lost 85 pounds. Please don't make it like a chocolate cupcake because better to make it a non-food, non-alcohol item. But one thing that makes you happy, one thing that makes you healthy, go for a walk, meditate, yoga, workout, whatever. One thing that makes you wealthy, look at your money. Where's your money going out? Where's your money coming in? Just look at it. Just notice it. Just look at your money, something that has to do with wealth, something you're like, oh my God, did my insurance really go up $3,000 over the last 2 years? True story, mine did. And I'm like,
Love
what?
it.
I took a class. It's like, just look at your money, just have a money date. And I started to do that. So obviously I switched providers. I ended up saving $4,000. $4,000 a year. That's real money. That's a trip to
Mhm.
St. Thomas. So happiness, health, wisdom, and wealth. So wisdom is connect to that higher power, that Allah, Buddha, Krishna, Yeshua, God, Goddess, Source, whatever. Just connect. Happiness, health, wisdom, and wealth. Pick one thing to do to make you happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, and then do one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to look at your taxes? Just peek at them. You don't want to look at your closet? Just look at one drawer. You don't want to do the laundry? Do one load. You do one thing. And at that point, you win the day. You don't have to do anything else for the rest of the day.
Love it.
Zero, zero. You're done. It's over. You've crossed the finish line. You have literally won the day because you made a list and you made it reasonable. Your brain is filled with serotonin, dopamine, happiness. You're more creative. You're more peaceful. You're actually more productive because you understand that slow and steady wins the race. So you have just moved 5 things forward in your life. You're done. Game over. Bonbons, soap operas, take off your bra. You win.
I love it. Yes. Oh, I'm like, that's such good advice. I'm
It's so
like,
simple.
yeah, and so simple, because I'm that type of person too that has the long to-do list. I did use, and I'm gonna tell you, into my trips, I did used to stress out about it. Like, it was almost like my achievement was just to try to get it done. And it didn't
Mhm.
matter if it, like you said, if it was productive or not. It was just, can I get it done? Now I'm not so much there. I kind of look at it and be like, okay, what's like the top 3 things that I can do, that if I do them, I don't have to do anything the rest of the day and be done.
Yeah.
And I love that. Bra off. Oh my gosh. Absolutely.
Boom. Off.
Yes. I'm like,
Done.
oh,
Pajama
yep.
pants, bra off. Like I,
Yeah.
I just won the day. I get to do literally anything that I want. And what's
Yeah.
interesting is because you're getting um that brain chemistry working in your favor, you will be more productive, you know? And it's so interesting because yeah, you can have, it's not about not having a list. It's about understanding that if you don't complete the list or if you don't complete 10% or 20 of the things, you still win. You're
Mhm.
still a good person. You're still bringing beauty into the world.
Right.
You're still fabulous. You're still a good friend and a good mom. You're still full of love, you know? And it's important for women in particular to give themselves permission to say, I'm going to do these 5 things and then I'm done. It
Yes.
will all get done. But that's why I threw in, because my friend told me about the 4 and I just added the one, like do one thing I don't want to do. Because for me, it was like slogging through some old taxes where I got like I had my tax return returned because they said I didn't have my unemployment when we were forced not to work for COVID. And it just sat on my desk because I'm like, what do you mean you're the government? You gave me that piece of paper. Can't you find that piece of paper? I don't know where it is. And it took me so long. And I finally just found somebody who's like, I'll help you through it. I'll just help you look for it, find it, call the number, whatever like that. And it's done. Like she helped me figure it out. She just made it her mission. She's a tax accountant. She's like, I'll do that for you. It'll free up your mind. You'll feel so much better. You won't even know what to do with yourself. So I have a letter from the IRS that's like, yeah, you owe no back taxes, and that's done, and you're all up to date, and you win.
That's
Go be a good citizen. And I would have just let it sit on my desk if I hadn't said, I'm just going to do things I don't want to do. I'm going to do one thing I don't want to do. One, one. It
that
works.
Well, and I think that one don't is important because I think that we can get swept away in the other stuff and then we still have stuff that we have to do like, like you mentioned earlier, like laundry, like or having to like clean the kitchen or something and that's okay. But I like that you added that one don't because that
Mhm.
and in my mind I'm like that's the first thing I'll do so I don't have to do
Me too.
it
Me
later.
too.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll just get that one done. But I love what Jen said. Her first comment was is that she has a list that she knows she won't complete it, and she's okay with that. And I think that's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then her second comment that I actually love, she says, but I also have rules. And I love and I don't even know if I would consider this a rule, Jen, but it says at 7 p.m. it is my time with my tea and my book.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I like to me that's just called loving yourself. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And I
like
and I absolutely relate even to the endless to-do list because my running joke is I'll never die because I never make time to clean out my basement. And I would never die with my basement in disarray. So I'll never die. It's fantastic. But it's important to have those boundaries. And again, going back to what you were saying before, is to teach people that's the boundary. Like, don't get mad, but I'm not going to pick up the phone after 7 o'clock. It's tea and book time.
yeah, and that's
You-
what she just said too. She said, "All things stop at 7 and everyone knows not to bother me." I love that,
Yeah,
Jen. Like and that's how it should be because that is your time and
it's critical. That's the thing, is that
I like
it's
that.
so critical just to feel alive. Like,
Mhm.
where do you feel the alivedness? Where's the ecstasy of living? And that
Yeah.
goes back to the happiness. What made you happy today? And if
Yeah.
you don't have anything that made you happy today, nothing, that's where you want to start. Like, what would make me happy? Blowing bubbles outside of the car as I'm driving down the road. That would make me happy
Yeah.
because it would be so silly. It would be so unexpected.
Or just something simple, just one like little simple thing. I used to, when I moved into this house, it has an amazing bathtub, which was one of the reasons why I wanted it. But you know what was so funny? Because I was in such that hustle and grind mode that I mean, I thought about how amazing it would be to take a bubble bath, listen to some soothing music, lighting candles. So of course, I bought the candles. I bought even the little pillow and everything. But what was interesting is that it took me a long time to do it because I would look at it and I would think, "Oh, this is so amazing. This is so great." But it was almost like I thought I wasn't deserving of it because
Mhm.
that would be relaxing and I wouldn't be hustling and grinding and then I would talk myself out of it of all the other things that I need to do before I could actually earn it.
Yeah, because you have to be productive.
Right?
If you're
And
not
that's not,
productive, you don't deserve it.
yeah, and that's not really being productive. That's just being enslaved to your own beliefs. But like the first time that I sat in it, I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna let every emotion that I have come up and like
Mm.
and have a conversation with it." And of course, like I sat down and I was like, "This is amazing. Why didn't I do this sooner?" And then, guilt started to come up. So I started having a conversation with guilt and I was like, "What are we guilty about?" Like we literally finished everything on our list. We earned this. Like we are allowed to like not to shut off and not do anything and relax. And like I remember telling it, just relax. What does that feel like? Like,
It's a foreign concept. Let me work through it.
yes. But now I have no guilt. I'm like I tell people it's like 2 in the afternoon. I'm like, I'm taking a bath.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot to be said for that. You're putting yourself back in the womb. I mean, the water is an emotional element, and the whole feeling of being completely surrounded by something that can't be compressed, it just pulls us back into that beautiful state where we were cared for. Every need, every want, every desire automatically cared for without us even we didn't have to think about it, articulate it, nothing.
Yeah, it's
Everything was being cared for us. So good for you for taking a 2 o'clock in the afternoon bath.
thanks.
Why not?
I mean,
You're,
yeah, I mean, and, and all the stuff that we need to do is still going to be there. But I like Jen's. I actually made a note. I love that she has a designated time to turn off.
yeah,
And I think during like the times that aren't like the day that is not my like designated my day, I think
yeah,
that's the thing that I'm still struggling to balance. Like
yeah,
is setting that time to turn off.
yeah.
And um
Mine's 8 o'clock. Nothing happens after 8 o'clock.
but I love that. I'm gonna do that from now
Well, and for me, it's 2 hours before I want to be asleep. So I want to be asleep at 10. So I just say I need 2 hours to unwind and just sort of unwind, do whatever, it takes. So by 8 o'clock, if I'm going to do the dishes, they're done. If, I'm going to clean up anything or cook anything or whatever, or reach out to somebody or email, it has to be done by 8 because at 8 o'clock, it's jammy time. And the other thing I do is I leave my phone downstairs. My bedroom's upstairs. So my phone's in the kitchen, charging in the kitchen. And I go upstairs when I go to bed. And I have a sunrise alarm clock because there's no way I'm going to put my phone in my bedroom. That's a no phone zone. I don't use it for my alarm. I don't want to be grabbing it as soon as I wake up to check email messages, anything like that. No, I'm going to be thankful. I'm going to do my 10 things I'm grateful for, send love to 3 people, and ask for guidance. What am I supposed to be doing today?
I love it.
I'm not going to be instantly like going for the cocaine phone of what did I miss?
Right, of the swiping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I love that. So I do wanna go back and I wanna ask you something.
Sure.
Because I think it's really important and it does fit in with what we're talking about. You talked about centering into your own experience versus grounding
Mm-hmm.
and it being a difference. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
could you elaborate more on that just so that
Yeah.
people have an understanding of what that is?
So different practices require different exercises. So, for example, in that experience of the goal is to find out what you want and then how to step forward towards it. So, it's about you. And so, the first thing to do is to center in yourself, meaning to pull your experience from being distracted by the outside world. So maybe there's noise outside, maybe there's a dog, maybe the TV is on, maybe there's a neighbor, maybe there's a phone, maybe there's a second computer on your monitor that you're trying to sort of side eye, and to come into yourself. And the way that you do that is with your breath, just to feel yourself breathing. So if you're breathing, that's holotropic breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And that sets up your brain to check in with your whole body. You are moving through all of the 14 meridians, all the 14 pathways of energy by bringing it in and bringing it out. So it's a way to come into what you're doing. Grounding is more useful if you're feeling like you personally are having a situation where your nervous system is overwhelmed.
Mhm.
Panic attack, COPD, ultra anxiety, nerves. If your nervous system is just, it will work, but at that moment, your centered experience would be overwhelm. So you want to ground into something that you're made out of, which is the earth. Grounding is about connecting to the earth. You are borrowed earth. Everything that is you, except your soul, you borrowed from the earth, and you're going to give it back when you die. And
Mhm.
so you're centering in not the small part of you, your body, but in where the body came from, which is the earth. Something so big that you can move your awareness into that larger earth space instead of a larger divine energy. You're moving into something that is three-dimensional, something that is solid in order to bring your nervous system back into balance. So it depends on what you need at the moment. If you want to center in your own embodied experience, or if you need to bring your nervous system into balance, those are two different situations.
And I'm glad that we talked about this because I think oftentimes when we think about like when your nervous system is revved up and crazy, you know, I know honestly we've been taught, oh, just breathe to calm it down. But I'm going to say working and being like working in crisis for a long time, that we like that I don't want to say that never worked. There was some people that like could breathe, but it was more like until
Right.
it go,
It's all puppy breath. It's like the
yeah.
top 20%.
Yeah, until it kind of starts to calm down. And the reason they're calming down is because they're about ready to pass out. But one of the tricks that I always did was the census trick, right? And you're probably familiar with this in psychology. What's five things that you can see right now? What's four things that you can touch? What are three things that you could hear? And it was so
Yeah.
interesting because I know that is a form of grounding because you can't always take them outside or take their shoes off. But like
Right.
it's just another form of grounding because you're actually having to you know what it is having to come together with honestly with your 3D world. Like when we
Yeah.
ground, we're grounding into like we're grounding on the ground of the 3D world. So
Yeah.
I would always use that exercise and like within just a matter of seconds, after you do like the first two, they're like ready to hear what the next thing is. They do start to ground in. And
Yes.
then I agree with you. And then you have them just breathe. Like just breathe in. And it's so interesting because you can watch their whole body relax. But
Mhm.
I used to watch some of the other workers, and they'd be like, "Okay, take a deep breath in and out." And literally, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I think this person's gonna pass out." And then they're
They're definitely going to pass out
like, "Right,
100%. And what you did is you took all of the anxiety and the overwhelm. It's like a lot of power with nowhere to go. And you gave it somewhere to go. You said five of these, four of these, three of these. That's very important for a brain that's looking for something to do. You gave it a direct order, and it went from being out of control, a storm, overwhelm to I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. And earthing is when you're taking your shoes off and standing on the ground. And grounding is just, I would say, generally connected to the earth. But also, a lot of times, as a master breathwork facilitator, I have to wave the flag that never, there is never, ever a situation where we have to breathe in. It's always breathing out. We can breathe out 10 times longer than we can breathe in because we have a vacuum. Our diaphragm creates a vacuum. We don't need to take a deep breath ever, never. What we need to do is empty the vacuum. We need to breathe out
I love that."
and then relax because people don't often realize your diaphragm is a dome. And when you breathe in, you're making it go down. When you're breathing out, it is natural. There's just this natural capacity that it goes back to relaxed. And people are thinking, I need to breathe in. I need to breathe in. It's like, no, no, you don't. You need to breathe out, 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 out. Breathe out as long as you can. Breathe out until you can't breathe out and then pause because we get hyper fixated on aspiration, like we need to be breathing in or out. But you can just pause and notice and not breathe in or out.
I love that.
And that will bring you into your body and your personal experience at that moment.
Huh. Yeah, you know what? I didn't know that. I just learned something today. But as you're talking about it, I'm like I totally can see that because I was imagining like when I breathe in, they say take a breath in and then you breathe out. Like that is where the relaxation hits. You know what I mean? Is in that out breath. I'm like, that's brilliant. Yeah.
every time. And that's why you want to just play. You make it a game. It's not like the hatha breathing, like, one nostril or the other, or like 10 in and five out, or four or five. I have dyslexia. I'm like, I'm checked out right away. I'm like, I can't count that high and stay connected to my breath and whatever. So, but the thing is, you can just breathe in what you need and breathe out what you don't need
Yeah.
for as long as you can. You will never, ever empty your lungs. You're biologically designed to always have about 15% of your oxygen in your lungs, no matter how hard you exhale. And the only time that's not true is in the death breath. If you're with someone, and I've been with someone who died, I was holding their hands. I was holding my mom's hand when she died. There is something called the death breath. And it's this huge exhale where the body does finally empty the lungs. And it's shocking how long that exhale is. But we, with our nervous system and our vagus saying yes, no, and 5% and regulating all that, you can't empty out your lungs. So just go ahead and exhale slow and long and make it a game, and then pause and feel your body and how does it feel, and feel your drum, your heartbeat. And it's just about your body and your feeling, but it'll shift. You'll go from it's the sympathetic versus parasympathetic. Sympathetic nervous system is shark attack, fight, flight. We have to do something, red alert. They cut us off in traffic. All the fire alarms are blazing. Parasympathetic, rest, digest, divide your cells, cry. You can't cry if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. Your lacrimal gland will not release the hormone to cry. When you get to the cave and you're safe, then you cry. Rest, digest, cry, divide your cells, and have an orgasm. You also can't have sex when you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger.
It's true. Yeah.
That's biology.
Oh, I love it. Well, I know, Jen, you've commented a lot in the chat. Do you have any questions or any comments any additional comments you'd like to make for Atlantis?
Bring it on, Jen. Either in the chat or in real life.
Yeah, yeah, either way.
Either way.
Okay, here we go. She said no questions, but this has been awesome. Oh, thank you, Jen. I'm so glad that you've enjoyed Atlantis. She's always fun.
Yep, getting funner every year.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So, Atlantis, you are so graciously giving a gift for donation to put up for donation.
Yep.
100% of all donations go to the She Rises Foundation, where we are providing scholarships, startup funding, educational funding, whatever it is that they're needing. We don't want finances to ever be a reason why a woman is not able to step into her own powerful feminine leadership, like we were talking about today. Um, and you are so kindly have given a gift for donation. Would you like to tell a little bit more about that gift?
Sure. Yeah. So I have a 6-month program called the Intuition Academy, and that started out as a smaller program called Take Flight, a map to your heart's desire. So it has all the seeds of my 6-month program, but that one is it's more designed for a 4-week cycle instead of a 6-month cycle. And it's $500, but I'm donating it to Kelly. I believe in her cause. I believe in what she's doing, and I want everyone to have a chance to try it. So it'll take you through the elemental series of change. And what that means is we shift our life and make our decisions in the same way in parallel to our gestation process. So we go through water, earth, fire, and air. And we touched on this a little bit today. This will take you through those 4 elemental phases of change. And the way I think of it as dream, do, die, and fly. And so what you do is make a donation. and she has a link that she'll give you. And in exchange for your email address, the class is free.
Beautiful. I love it. I thank you so much because that's a very generous donation gift. So thank you. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for wanting to share that with, with the platform and the audience. So thank you. That's incredible.
Yeah, I love it. It's designed, it's basically designed that there's a little piece of education and then a meditation and then integration. So you can listen to it over and over and over again as many times as you want until you feel like you've really gotten that particular phase. It's not a one and done. It's, I'm going to think about what she just said. I'm going to do this meditation with it, and then I'm going to integrate it and see where I am. So you can spiral through it over and over and over. You can even achieve one goal, start all over, and set a new goal.
I love it. Yes, and I love that you have that integration piece in there because sometimes I think that's what we forget is that like the most important piece is to integrate it and embody it into it,
Yes.
into your being. So
The way I like to say it, I'm not just going to get you high and say goodbye.
I love it.
I'm not that person. I'm not that kind of shaman. I want you to have it as a permanent skill set, something that you can come to for the rest of your life and really use it any way that you want.
That's amazing. And again, thank you so much for that generous donation gift. And, everybody, it is in her speaker center is where you can find it. You just gonna need to click on it. And then again, it's every donation is it's like, it melts my heart. Every time I see a donation come in, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're one step closer to another scholarship. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so and a huge thank you to everyone who does donate and does support the
Mhm.
platform. It's way more than what I could have ever imagined or even asked for. So my heart is always so, so grateful. I know I say this every time, but I don't think that I can say it enough is the gratitude that I have for, for our audience members who support it and for, for people like you, Atlantis, coming on and sharing your wisdom. I learned so much today. I have a thing, I took so many notes and learned so much. Um, and
And that's what we're here to do. We're all here to teach each other, learn from each other, and just to try stuff out. Sometimes you just need one person to say, I'm really struggling. Can I just say this out loud? Would you be my sacred witness? And in my experience, once you say it once, you're more likely to act on it because you are allowed to say it with your voice.
Yes, yes, and I love that with your voice. We all have a voice and everybody is allowed to use it. And like I said,
Mhm.
this is part of what this platform is supporting people, like really encouraging people to step into their voice because it's so powerful and we need it. We don't need silent people. We need people who are saying, "Hey, this is who I am, this is how I feel." And
Yeah.
and
And that you're already perfect. You don't need to be healed or changed or
yeah.
anything. You're already perfect, just exactly the way you are.
Yes, and I love it. Well, Atlantis, thank you so much. Again, you're so welcome back here. I think I did see you sign up again. Yeah.
Not yet, but I'll make sure to do that today.
Okay, yes, like please, please come back again because
Of
it's
course.
always fun. You have such I love your energy. I really do. So I was looking forward to today because it's just you do have such beautiful energy. So
And
thank
it's 11:11. It's the
Yes.
angels just coming through and
Yeah.
reminding us that nobody is ever alone and that there's a place for us with all of us. And we're just all holding each other.
Yes, yes. And Emma, and on that message, we're gonna end on that message because I think it's beautiful, just like that. So yes, thank you again. Thank you, Jen. Thank you to everyone who watches on the replay. So much love to all of you. Thank you so much. And we will be back again on Friday with another guest. So see everybody then. Bye, everyone.